On the bigger trees, not the smaller ones. The most important thing is the irrigation pipe goes this side because we're on a slope. So if the tree's there and you plant that side, the water's going to end up down there. So the idea is this side, it obviously flows under the roots. So the first thing to do is get the turf off. You want to be about a spit out. A spit is that measure. So the quickest way to do it is just try and dig down about an inch or so all the way round. Only needs to be rough. You need to keep the turf away from the young sapling, because one, it will take all the moisture away from getting to the tree. Secondly, in winter it harbours all the pathogens, so any sort of botrytis, any of the fungi, they spend the winter in the turf. As the weather warms up, they climb back up into the tree and they'll potentially poison it or kill it or eat it alive. So the idea is you keep about a foot, 2 foot, 3 foot, depending on the size of the tree, away. So if you do that, use this as your circle guide, throw it out the way. This is the way I've done it for decades. You quarter the turf roughly and jack it out like that. Turn it upside down. And then you're left with a reasonable hole. If you've got a fork, fork it loose because it's easier to dig out, and it also breaks it up. So depending on the size of your tree root, you may need to take some soil out. If it's only a small root, you won't. You see how that's nice and fluffy now? It's lovely soil actually.
It's really good.
So this obviously hasn't got much root on it. Some of them have got proper balls like that. So you might need to flick some soil out so the root's down. So basically, drop that in like so, not too deep, because any moisture that gets onto the stem can rot it. So about there, just smooth the soil back in, just jiggle the roots slightly. You don't want any air pockets next to the roots because obviously it won't take up any water or nutrition. So just jiggle it gently as you refill. Pack it down hard. Don't be afraid to pack it in like that. And then your irrigation pipe wants to come in about here. Obviously if it's a bigger tree, you can plant it when you dig your soil out. So your irrigation pipe goes in like that. This one won't have one because it's a little and I'm just demonstrating. And then your mat goes round it. Like so.
What's the mat doing?
Mat does several jobs. It keeps the weeds away, stops the sun baking the ground mainly, as soon as the sun gets on it. And then what you can do, leave your turf upside down, place it back in, but make sure it doesn't touch the stem. That's critical. There you go, one planted tree.
Oh. And the stick doesn't go back in, we're keeping those out?
I don't know. I mean, this need a tie. Some of the bigger trees will need staking and tying. But that's basically it. Any questions?
Thank you.
Is that, some of them are really tiny. Is that what you want for the tiny ones?
Pardon?
I would say some that seemed a lot smaller than that. So is that for all the trees we do?
If you want them to survive, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine as long as I do the right thing.
If they're really small, you can slip plant them. But the problem is the turf.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look when they're planting in forests and there's no turf, they're just planting into bare ground. All they'll do is get the spade, crank it at 45 degrees, drop the tree in and kick it over. But the problem here is the turf. If you do that, if you slip plant here and leave the turf up against the trunk, the chances are the tree won't survive because the grass will outcompete it.
Tom, we are likely going to retrofit some biodegradable tree guards.
Yeah.
So they will probably need posts to support them around the tree.
It depends what sort of tree guards they are. Are they spirals?
No, they're biodegradable 60cm tubes. They're largely
Potentially, if they're heavy, yes. If they're really lightweight, no. If they're heavy, they'll need staking. Yeah.
Okay.
So, have we got any tie? Have we got any tie for the trees? I'll show you how to tie a tree in. Tom, we got any tree tie? Where's Martin? Have we got any tree tie?
We've got the roll.
Once you knew exactly where to cut, and now we've done it, and you can
Stuff before.
2 of them were
I
killed
wouldn't use it
within
full
weeks by our
width.
own guys.
If
from
I
them.
mangy boy, if you fold it in half. Tie to the stake first. Try and do it in such a way that it won't slip down, and then tie off to the tree. Probably need it longer than this because it's not enough slack to do a double knot. But that's you've got the idea, haven't you?
Yeah.
But always tie to the stake first. Takes the weight off the bark, and then just a simple loop. Yeah. Don't over tighten it.
Right. So just one knot.
No, 2. This isn't long.
Okay, 2 knots on it.
I don't use this stuff. It's too clumsy. I use expandable plastic.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just to demonstrate. Don't tie too tight for 2 reasons. One, as the tree grows, it will cut. Yeah, it will cut the cambium layer off and kill the tree. So, and the other thing is, trees should be allowed to move very slightly in the wind, because what it does, it encourages the roots to spread out and anchor the tree. If you tie it rigid, it won't want to spread its roots. All right? Makes sense? Any questions?
Are we staking every tree?
I doubt it. You shouldn't need to. Stuff like this won't need staking.
Right.
If it's 2.5 metres tall and it's got a big canopy and the wind's likely to push it over, then yes. It's common sense, really.
Right.
It's a bit like sailing, you know. If you've got a great big sail up in the wind, you're going to catch it and it's going to push it. If you've got that and it's windy, it's not going to do a lot.
Yeah.